steam coming out of your ears, hot under the collar, all that anxiety that starts rumbling around inside. Those are called somatic markers. Somatic markers. You see, when you get triggered, your early warning sign is in your body. I've had to learn that when I get triggered, the first thing that happens to me is my chest tightens. But perhaps for you, your heart races, or you get those butterflies in your stomach. One of the leaders I interviewed, he would get sweaty palms. As humans, when we get excited, our pupils dilate. So to help you understand how this works, I'm going to share 2 stories with you. For each story, listen for the triggering event and listen for the somatic markers, okay? First story. When I was a little girl growing up in Texas, my favorite thing was to bake cinnamon rolls with my grandmother. I'd punch down the dough and we'd knead it out. We'd sprinkle cinnamon, sugar, and butter, roll them up. She used thread to cut them into slices. She'd put the slices in a pan of butter and slide it into the oven, and before long, that little Texas farmhouse, In the work that I do today, I do a lot of consulting with organizations to bring this work into their organization, keynotes and workshops. I travel a lot. The other day I was in the BWI airport and I was focused. I was on my way to the gate. Smelled it before I saw it. Cinnabon. From the instant I smelled it, my pace slowed. My breathing dropped. I began to smile as I remembered all the love my grandmother baked in those cinnamon rolls. By the time I got to the gate, I was back in Texas. Hi. How y'all? What was the triggering event? The smell. What were the somatic markers? There were 4. Slow down. The breathing. The smile. Hi. The accent. A trigger will have all those kinds of responses: bodily, emotional, mental, and behavioral. Second story. I was brand new in my senior executive position at the U.S. Department of Transportation. I made it to the executive level. Not only that, I got my dream job. I was so excited. And it was really important to me because one of my values in the green part of my brain is success. I got a call from my boss. Hey, Shelley, what can you tell me about the paperwork on my desk with one of your staff requesting a transfer to another agency? I can't tell you anything. This is the first I've heard of it. Yeah, that's what I thought. Listen, I'm going to send the paperwork back down. You decide how you want to handle it. But in the future, it's my expectation that your staff will come to you for this sort of thing. You're the director now. Absolutely, of course, I agree. I'll handle it. So I called that staff person into my office, cognitively telling myself, we're going to have a good conversation. I'm a decent communicator. I'm a pretty good manager. I have a good exchange of ideas. Meanwhile, this part of my brain had other ideas. That person started explaining the situation, and I still remember my chest tightening and thinking, wow, it's warm in here today. As they continued to talk, I remember my jaw clenching. That's the last thing I remember. Because I blew my top. It remains one of the worst leadership memories of a 30-year career. What were the somatic markers? And by the way, I turned down the transfer. What was those somatic markers? There were 3. Chest tightening, jaw clenching, feeling hot. What was the triggering event? Boss calling. What else? Excuse me? Caught off guard. What else? Somebody going above me. See, all of that's right. But I invite you to go deeper. Think of it in terms of the brain. What did I tell you was in the green part of my brain? Success. When my boss said, I will never forget it, it is my expectation that my brain perceived that my value system was in jeopardy. You hear it? Anytime your brain perceives that your value system is in jeopardy, it is very likely to be a triggering event for you. You need to know your value systems. They are guiding your decisions in a good way, and they can become a big-time trigger for you. In the longer workshop versions, we actually do that exercise. If you don't have that, I have a chapter in my book about it, but there's lots of ways to understand that you need to know your values. When it conflicts with what you experience, it is very likely to be a triggering event for you. So that's really interesting, but what we want to know are something about your triggers and your somatic markers.